Welcome back, everybody. It's your boy THO, and we back with another great fight for you guys. This Saturday, March 2nd, Rozenstruik versus Gaziev. No further ado, let's get to it. All right, so the first fight we'll be talking about takes place in the lightweight division. Abdul Karim Al Sawadi versus Loic Razavav. A little bit more about Abdul. Abdul Karim Al Sawadi has a 15-3 professional record. Abdul has fought in different fighting rings such as Brave CF, LFA, and Fury FC. Abdul will fight on Dana White's Contender Series back on August 15, 2023, and secure a unanimous decision win.
Every day, train, sleep, eat, repeat, patient, hard work, sacrifice. Without these things, doesn't matter how talented you are. If you're not ready to sacrifice, you have to sit home.
Now, a little bit about his opponent, Loic Razavav. Loic has a 17-5-1 professional record. Loic would fight inside the UFC octagon for the first time on March 4th, 2023 versus Esteban Hivavex. Loic would secure a unanimous decision win. Loic would lose his second bout to Mateusz Rebecki via KO TKO stoppage, making his UFC record 1-1. Next fight we'll be talking about takes place in the lightweight division. Ludovic Klein versus AJ Cunningham. A little bit more about Ludovic. Ludovic Klein has a 24-1 professional record. Klein would step inside the UFC octagon for the first time on September 26, 2020 versus Shane Young. Klein would come away with a KO TKO win. Ludovic Klein would suffer defeat inside the octagon in his next bout to Michael Trizano via unanimous decision. He will lose again. That would be Klein's last loss to date. Klein would go on and win his next 3 bouts. A little more about Ludovic's opponent, AJ Cunningham. AJ Cunningham has a 10-3 professional record. AJ has fought in leagues like PF, Professional Fighting League, and LFA, Legacy Fighting Alliance. AJ Cunningham will step inside the UFC octagon for the first time on September 12, 2023 on Dana White's Contender Series. AJ will fight Stephen Nguyen, which he lost by KO TKO. AJ will be fighting inside the UFC octagon for the second time this Saturday, March 2nd. Alright, so the next fight I'm going to be talking about takes place in the middleweight division. Christian Leroy Duncan versus Claudio Ribeiro. A little bit more about Christian. Christian Leroy Duncan has a 9-1 professional record. Christian would have a good start to his UFC career by securing a KO TKO win over Dusko Todorovic. The joy would be short-lived, however, because in his next bout, Christian would suffer a unanimous decision loss to Armen Petrosyan. Christian would bounce back from this setback and secure another KO TKO victory over Dennis, my apologies if I pronounced the name wrong, Tivlilian, making Christian 2-1 inside the UFC octagon. Moving over to Christian's opponent, Claudio Ribeiro. Claudio Ribeiro has a 11-4 professional record. Claudio Ribeiro would start his UFC career on Dana White's Contender Series with a KO TKO win over Ivan Valenzuela. Ribeiro would then suffer a KO TKO loss to Abdul Rasik Al Hassan in his next bout. Claudio Ribeiro would then go 1-1 in his next two bouts, making his current UFC record 2-2. All right, so the next fight I'm going to be talking about takes place in the bantamweight division. Ayman Zahabi versus David Basharat. A little bit more about Ayman Zahabi. Ayman Zahabi has a 10-2 professional record. Ayman Zahabi would begin his UFC career on February 19, 2017 versus Reginaldo Vieira. Zahabi would win this bout via unanimous decision. Zahabi would not be able to follow up this performance with another win, dropping his next two fights. Zahabi would lose to Ricardo Ramos and Vince Morales. Shaking things off, Zahabi would string together 3-fight win streak, with his last bout coming in a KO TKO win over Aureli Ling. Moving on to Amin's opponent, David Basharat. David Basharat has a 14-0 professional record. David Basharat will start his UFC career on Dana White's Contender Series with a submission win over Oran Korlan. David would string together another 3 wins, giving him an impressive 4 wins to start his UFC career. Alright, so the next fight I'm going to be talking about takes place in the bantamweight division. Vinicius Oliveira versus Bernardo Sopaio. A little bit more about Vinicius Oliveira. Vinicius Oliveira has a 19-3 professional record. Vinicius Oliveira would have extensive wins in fighting leagues like Future FC and UAE Warriors. Oliveira would fight for the first time inside the UFC octagon on September 26, 2023 on Dana White's Contender Series. He would win that bout via KO TKO versus Victor Mandregal. Unfortunately, I was not able to find much information on Vinicius' opponent, Bernardo Sopaio. The next match I'm going to be talking about takes place in the middleweight division. Eric Anders versus Jamie Pickett. A little bit more about Eric Anders. Eric Anders has a 15-8 professional record. Eric Anders will start his UFC career on July 22nd, 2017 with a KO TKO win over Rafael Natal. Anders will fight in 16 different UFC events since his debut. That is an incredible amount of fights for a guy who started back in 2017. Eric Anders will suffer a unanimous decision loss in his latest UFC bout. Let's see if Eric Anders can bounce back from this loss this Saturday, March 2nd. A little more about Eric's opponent, Jamie Pickett. Jamie Pickett has a 13-10 professional record. Jamie Pickett will start his UFC career off on Dana White's Contender Series. Jamie would suffer a unanimous decision loss to Punahele Soriano. This loss would get Jamie kicked out of the UFC. Jamie Pickett would work his way back into the UFC and fight on Dana White's Contender Series again. This time, Pickett would secure a KO TKO victory over Donovan Patty. Jamie is currently on a losing streak, dropping his last 4 fights. I'm sure Jamie is very hungry for a win this Saturday versus Eric Anders. On to the main card. The first fight I'm going to be talking about takes place in the flyweight division. Matt Chanel versus Steve Erceg. A little bit about Matt Chanel. Matt Chanel has a 16-7 professional record. Matt Chanel will get his shot at the UFC by becoming an Ultimate Fighter 24 finale. He would unfortunately lose to Rob Font. Chanel would drop another fight, losing to Hector Sandoval, making it 2 straight losses to start his UFC career. Chanel would be able to bounce back from these defeats and string together 4 fights win streak. Matt Chanel will lose his current fight to date by KO TKO to Mateus Nikolov. A little bit more about Matt's opponent, Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg has a 11-1 professional record. Steve Erceg is currently on a 10-fight win streak, the last 2 inside the UFC octagon. Erceg will fight inside the octagon for the first time on June 10, 2023, beating David Dvorak via unanimous decision. He would follow this up by another unanimous decision win over Alessandro Costa.
Everybody that I care about is still going to love me, no matter what. Like, whether I win or lose, it doesn't really matter in their eyes, and that definitely, takes a lot of the pressure off. I fought on Eternal against a Japanese bloke. I fought in front of the UFC guys, won impressively, and then they signed me on the spot, so I backstage told me I was in the UFC. Everything I do, I want to be the best at, and I don't see why there's any reason why not only can I not be the best, but why I'm not the best right now. This win will really solidify me as top of the division, put me close to the title shot, which I really do think I can win the title, so he'll get me one step closer to that.
The next fight I'm going to be talking about takes place in the bantamweight division. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Begzat Almakhan. A little bit more about Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar Nurmagomedov has a 16-0 professional record. Umar will start his UFC career on January 20th, 2021 with a submission win over Sergey Morovas. Umar would continue his dominance and win his next 3 bouts, making his UFC career 4-0. Umar Nurmagomedov is the cousin of Khabib Nurmagomedov. A little bit more about Umar's opponent, Begzat Almakhan. Begzat Almakhan has a 17-1 professional record. Begzat Almakhan has yet to step inside the UFC octagon. Begzat has fought in notable places like UAE Warriors and a fighting ring called Octagon. This fight this Saturday will be the first time Begzat Amakhan steps inside the UFC octagon, and arguably this is one of the toughest challenges into the UFC in fighting Umar Nurmagomedov. Alright, the next fight I'm going to be talking about takes place in the flyweight division, Alex Perez versus Mohammed Mokaev. A little bit more about Alex Perez. Alex Perez has a 24-7 professional record. Alex Perez will start his UFC career on August 8th, 2017 on Dana White's Contender Series. Alex would win that fight via submission. Alex Perez would build on that win and put together 3 more wins in a row, starting his UFC career 4-0. Alex would eventually taste defeat for the first time inside the octagon, losing to Joseph Benavidez via KO TKO. After this loss, Alex would go 3-2 in his last 5 fights. A little bit more about Alex's opponent, Mohammed Mokaev. Mohammed Mokaev has a 11-0 professional record. Mohammed would start his UFC career on March 19, 2022 with a submission victory over Cody Jordan. Mohammed is yet to taste defeat in his professional career, and he is currently 5-0 inside the UFC octagon.
When he had you in that knee bars, I think you said you could hear it cracking in there. So what was going through your mind?
I'm flexible. There was like three, four cracks, and he thought I'm gonna tap. So he relaxed a little bit. He looked at me, and then Herb didn't say he didn't tap. So I shake my head, and then he rejoined the grip like a choke position, but even stronger. This groin guard very strong, and then another four cracks. In my head, I was waiting till my knee rips. In my head, I felt like it's nearly coming out. And then when I stand on the knee, I'm like, my knee gone. And when I grab him, I said, in my head, I was talking, I'm like, I broke his heart. He didn't finish me in position where he's like, black belt. I'm not black belt. And I broke him.
So you were willing to let your knee rip in there?
Yes, because I know I'm resting. Next month, Ramadan, in 3-4 days, I'm gonna rest. So I don't want to rest with tapping. I'm not gonna sleep for 30 days, you know.
The next fight I'll be talking about takes place in the light heavyweight division, Vitor Petrino versus Tyson Pedro. A little bit more about Vitor Petrino. Vitor Petrino has a 10-0 professional record. Vitor Petrino would start his UFC career on September 6, 2020 on Dana White's Contender Series. Vitor will get a KO TKO victory over Rodolfo Bellato. Vitor has yet to taste defeat in his professional career, and he is currently 4-0 inside the UFC octagon.
Lays him out. Vitor Petrino. Big time knockout. Ridiculous power.
Now a little bit more about Vitor's opponent, Tyson Pedro. Tyson Pedro has a 10-4 professional record. Tyson Pedro will secure a submission victory over Khalil Roundtree Jr. to start his UFC career. Tyson will follow this up with a KO TKO win over Paul Craig in his next bout. Tyson Pedro would taste defeat for the first time inside the octagon with a unanimous decision loss to Ilir Latifi. After this loss, Tyson will go 4-3 in his last 7 bouts, with his latest fight coming in a win via KO TKO victory over Anton Turkali. Now, the main event of the evening. The main event will be taking place in the heavyweight division. Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Shamil Gaziev. A little bit more about Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Jairzinho Rozenstruik has a 13-5 professional record. Jairzinho would start his career in the UFC with a KO/TKO victory over Junior Albany. Jairzinho Rozenstruik would follow this performance and string together 3 more victories by way of KO/TKO, making his UFC record thus far 4-0. Jairzinho Rozenstruik would suffer his first loss inside the octagon to Francis Ngannou via KO/TKO. Following this loss, Jairzinho would go 3-4 in his last 7, with his latest match coming in a submission loss to Jailton Almeida.
Feel like speed, that's going to be a big factor in this fight coming up?
Maybe. He's also a fast guy for a big guy. He's fast. I saw him fight, saw him throw punches at a very good speed. So I'll not say he's slow, but it's impressive and it's interesting for me. And I like the challenge. It's a big one. It's also another main event that changed all the mindset. It's not that he's going to come in there and then it's crazy. Nah. You got to think about your gas tank. So let's play. Let's see who got the best chess game. Let's see who got who first. And I don't got time, so I want to go in there, and most likely I'd rather knock his ass out than fight 5 rounds.
Moving over to Jairzinho's opponent, Shamil Gaziev. Shamil Gaziev has a 12-0 professional record. Shamil Gaziev has fought in other notable MMA organizations such as Brave FC. Shamil would start his UFC career on Dana White's Contender Series on September 19, 2023 with a submission victory over Greg Velasco. Shamil will follow this performance with another victory via KO/TKO victory over Martin Boudet.
Ready to fight John Jones?
Yeah.
Shamil, what is the nearest future plan for you?
My plan: finish Rozenstruik in March, beat Derek Lewis in Abu Dhabi in September. Next year, beat John Jones.
Ready to fight John Jones?
Yeah. Today, brother, John Jones.
You want to fight him today?
Yeah.
Let's go, John Jones. We have somebody waiting for you.